What are the risks associated with having a lack of resilience?
I have a small clinical practice, which, just the way things worked out, is all 18 to 23-year-olds. And I always get the referral the same way. Well-intended family has done everything for the child possible. But the problem is the child has never been allowed to fail. In my practice, they tend to be affluent families. And again, they're parents who are with the kids and committed, but if they're playing a sport, they have the official coaching staff and then they have their private coach. Academically, they get mentors and tutors when they're pulling 95s. So they're just not allowed to fail. And then they go off to college and they have an event. And the event generally involves substance. And so the event that happens is they've been arrested by the community or the campus police. They've been in some kind of altercation. They've been in an accident. They've been hospitalized. And one of the things they really don't know how to do is to navigate. So that's a big risk. And in most cases, it's recoverable, but it's a long road and it's a hard road. They don't know how to explain to their friends why they're not drinking. So resilient people have a different way of problem solving. They create options for themselves. They evaluate those options, right? One option is, well, I'm just going to drink when the guys drink. Well, in some places on college campuses across the country, that drinking starts at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning and goes right through Monday. But resilient kids figure out how to say, well, you know what? I'm on the club soccer team and we got a game tomorrow, so I'm not drinking today. That's acceptable. Some kids figure out how to exit a party and come back. And so, the party started at 8, they hung out till 9, they left at 9, they came back at 10:30 or 11. If it happens to be the house they live in, they need to come back, but nobody realizes they weren't there. Other kids, if their friends are kind of bar hopping, they'll take a walk around the block between bars.
So substance abuse is certainly one risk. Is just sheer burnout another risk?
Sure. And the substance abuse often comes because of burnout. So one of the patterns I've seen is, a freshman, sophomore, junior in college says, I'm not drinking this school year, this semester, because I need to get it right. And they stick to that commitment. They don't use grass, they don't drink, they, toe the line, they get great grades, and then it's the end of the spring semester generally, and it's okay. And 5 weeks later, I get them, because for 5 weeks they've been smoking and drinking nonstop. The guardrails just came off. They don't know how to go from highly, highly disciplined, probably too disciplined, to relaxing without going completely the other way. So the work is to get them back to managing that. But it's a pretty scary 5 weeks for them, because they believe that you couldn't smoke enough marijuana to have that kind of episode. And then once they got into it, it was hard to back out.
This seems very counter to kind of the American model of achieve, 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 even at a young age where, it's like you said, it's play this sport, join this club, get these grades, and then you'll have a happy life. And then you maybe get into the school you want, and then you get into a job where you keep setting these goals and you keep going down this path of achievement, but not necessarily fulfillment.
Well, you won't have a happy life, to be direct about it. You'll have a pleasant life. And once you get into your career, you'll be working 70 hours a week, and you'll start Monday morning by wishing for the weekend. And there is some risk. For the high school kids, video games, the wrong kinds, too much time, creates a pleasure cycle that is insatiable and destructive. It's been linked to all manner of functional problems. Kids who play too much of the really violent video games are not only more likely to be aggressive, they're more likely to be sexually active earlier with more partners. They're more likely to use substances. They're more likely to binge drink. I mean, you name it. It kind of takes the guardrails off because they are seeking pleasure so desperately because the other things that might provide it have dissipated, physiologically gone away. Now we can rebuild them, but in the moment they're in a very bad place.
What are things that parents can watch for that would indicate your child lacks resilience?
A couple things. One is gaming. Two is feeling crushed when there's a setback, right? So pessimism and optimism are learned behaviors. And if a child has either through their own kind of development become sensitive to setbacks, or we've put a little too much pressure on them, if they're really overreacting, and I think parents have to look at themselves.